Sharpay and Zeke should have had way more time together. One thing that I hate that in the third movie, Zeke ends up asking Sharpay to prom or trying to gear up to ask Sharpay to prom, only to find out that Sharpay basically assumes that Zeke is already taking her. Everybody really assumes that Sharpay wants Troy, but no, she actually wanted Zeke and had Zeke and was going to prom with Zeke from jump. But for some reason they cut the scene, and I hate the fact that they weren't strong enough to just keep it going and just make them a couple. I think they would have been beautiful together. The man who plays Zeke has an amazing facial structure, and by the third movie, he was easily as attractive as Zac Efron in Corbin Bleu. So I don't know why they didn't give him more of a part, and it seemed like every film they cut more and more of his speaking, which is insane because he only really had 5 lines to begin with.
Is that it? That can't be it. That can't be it. This is where they come back.
Sharpay and Gabriella could have been the most amazing friends, and I wish in the third movie they kind of focused in on Sharpay being closer to the Wildcats, because by the third film she's still not close with the Wildcats, even though a lot of the drama that happened the year prior or 2 years prior. So I never understood, nor did I like the fact that she was not close with the Wildcats or wasn't attempting to be close with the Wildcats. There was still this kind of tension, and of course at the end of the film they all hold hands and walk off the stage together, but it felt off that every movie they kind of hard resetted Sharpay. I didn't like that. Her solo movie that Ashley Tisdale ended up getting shortly after the series had ended, that they did not kind of give us an update on what everyone else was doing except for Ryan. I would have loved to hear what, Chad, Taylor, Kelsey, you mean to tell me she didn't keep up with any of these people? And the fact that they weren't mentioned to me just meant that they never kept up, which I hated, because it meant that even though every movie they made up, Sharpay just wasn't their cup of tea, and I guess they weren't Sharpay's cup of tea.
I was just kidding! Come on! You guys know I was just kidding, right?
Ashley Tisdale doing all of these movies while doing Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Phineas and Ferb, I'm sorry. Respect the queen.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Corbin Bleu was the best dancer. He washed Zac Efron multiple times, and I wish that they gave him more of a storyline. At times, it gave very much that Chad, who's played by Corbin Bleu, was definitely giving the disposable black friend. And I hate to bring that up, but it's true. Same thing for Taylor. I just wish they gave them a tiny bit more. In the third film, they threw him a bone with, the proposal, the prom proposal or the promposal. It was great, but I just wanted more. I wanted to hear more about Chad and his storyline.
That was it? I mean,
Gabriella was justified in leaving Troy in the first film. Sorry. And I actually would have not gotten back together with him, and if this movie had debuted in this decade, they definitely would have been calling Troy an incel.
Period, bitch! Period!
Walk Away is Gabriella's best I'm Leaving You Troy song out of the 3 she sang every movie. The first film, the song was great. I loved her solo. And second film, it was kind of like a duet with Troy kind of doing a little bit of lines. But the third film, Walk Away, was so good. The lyrics were good. The production was good. The transitioning, because I think it was a transition of her leaving the house, pictures disappearing from the walls, and just this whole move. I'm sorry, Walk Away was definitely her best I'm Leaving song.
I try and be stronger in this life I chose, but I want you to know that door I close. In your honor, I'm sorry.
High School Musical 3, their soundtrack is the best soundtrack. They had the best costume designs. They had the best, sets. And I think this is because High School Musical 3 was in a movie theater. I think it's actually the only Disney Channel production released or premiered at a movie theater. It's iconic. The only films that shortly come after it is Descendants. And of course, the person who directed Descendants is Kenny Ortega. Taylor and Chad are the villains of the first film. I'm gonna need y'all to get off of the queen, Sharpay's, back, because I hate when they make it seem like Sharpay was just this villainous person. The only movie I could never really defend Sharpay on is High School Musical 2. She had no reason to be doing all that. But High School Musical, the first film, oh, my sister, she definitely needs her comeuppance. She needs her comeuppance because she did not do anything to them people. All she did was rush along the process. If you're not serious about the theater, then you won't be there. Obviously, they were serious and they showed up. Was Sharpay still pissed off? Yes, but hey, that's all that she did. It was mainly the other people, the friends, who were just acting like horrible, shitty people. Like, I never understand why Sharpay was blamed for the friends making Troy go on a whole incel rant. How is that Sharpay's fault? Is it Sharpay's fault that she's fabulous? I never understood that, I fear.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Okay, time's up.
Troy was never his own person. If he wasn't following after Gabriella, he was following after what his dad wanted or what Chad wanted. Even in the third movie, him picking both, and I'm saying this in quotes because once he gets to college, he's gonna realize that he can't actually do both. It's impossible as somebody who's in college. He copped out by picking both. What he actually should have picked was either theater or basketball. It should have not been both. And if I was in his position, I probably would have ended up picking basketball because that would have paid for school. I don't like the fact that Monique Coleman had to figure out her own hair. I never noticed this as a kid, but she always had on a headband and a wig that looked horrible. And I get it, it was the times, but there was a photo shoot I saw of her and Vanessa, and it just rubs me the wrong way seeing that. I was just like, wow, like, these girlies had to go through the mud to get something. I do consider her one of the pioneers for Black girls in Disney, even though she didn't get a lot of parts in the first like film or two, and even the third film. The fact that she was there was definitely, you know, seen, at least for me. She wasn't in a lot of the promo, but it was nice to see her there. It was nice to have that type of representation back then, watching when I was like a little girl. So I always loved, you know, Taylor McKessie. I loved her. I loved Monique Coleman. And I like the fact that Corbin and Monique still get together and still chit chat. Zac Efron not acknowledging High School Musical as much as the others always kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it's like a beginning for him after, I think, that TV show he had called Summerland or Summertime. I watched a bit of it too, but this movie was definitely his breakout role. And I think just recently he's getting comfortable with talking about it and being okay with being, you know, mentioned with the film. But I just never liked the fact that he just seemed like he would act like he was better than the film. He acted like he was above the film. I just didn't like the fact that after everything was said and done, it just seems like he's too good to really be seen with any of the castmates. Like, Corbin has been on Broadway so many times and I haven't not once seen Zac. The only movie that's seeing High School Musical in Disney past this time, past High School Musical being seen, is definitely Descendants. High School Musical could never be replicated. I don't think there's going to be another Disney Channel original film that had this much impact. Descendants almost got there. I feel like their third film could have gotten them there if the writing was better, but I could easily say whether your favorite film is High School Musical 1, 2, or 3, all of them, in my personal opinion, are great pieces of film to the Disney Channel original film culture. And even with the third film being out in theater, it's just an amazing legacy to have. And High School Musical is actually the best Disney Channel original film series of all time.